Homebirth. We please welcome Will.
I won't talk very long, but I don't really know very much. But all right, is that better?
Yeah.
I don't know really very much, but what I do know is that I'm an example here with my fantastic wife, with our son, that's 6 months old. That we're all living proof, as with you, that you can birth at home safely. And with the support of an experienced midwife, an independent midwife, that you can have a child and without having to have the choice to have a child at home without having to be medicalised. It's all about choice, and quite frankly I feel marginalised because I don't have a choice with whatever's coming on now. And I think we should fight as hard as we can to support our independent midwives for our choices for the future.
Mel, who has a very new bundle there, and we look forward to hearing her story about her birth at home.
Thank you. I'm here to tell my birth story today. I know so many of you have beautiful, wonderful home birth stories as well, but I'm going to share ours today. So I'm Melanie, and this is Jose, 6 weeks old. And he was born beautifully in water at home. I have a daughter too, who is 2 years old, and her birth wasn't as beautiful. Sienna was born in hospital, and our midwives during the labour were great, but being part of the hospital system and being restricted by its policies, unfortunately, one medical intervention led to another, which eventuated in Sienna being born by emergency caesarean. That was very traumatic for me, both physically and emotionally. And I was in a lot of pain from the surgery, groggy from the drugs, and afterwards quite limited in what I could do. For weeks I couldn't lift, drive, or easily pick up or carry around my daughter. It took me months to recover and heal. But I was mostly distressed by being separated from my baby. When Sienna was born, thankfully she was briefly placed on my chest, but was then taken away to the nursery for observation. I was never quite exactly sure why she was taken away. No reason given to me seemed valid enough for her to be taken away, but it was hospital policy for some of the issues around her birth. I didn't see her again for 12 hours, even after requesting for her to be brought to me, or for me to be taken to her. I was told it wasn't possible for me to go to her, I needed to stay in bed, and that she couldn't come to me because she needed to stay in the nursery. And I said, well, take my bed to see her, and they said they couldn't do that. And I don't understand why the hospital doesn't allow for babies and mums to be together in those situations. It just seems unreal that they can't make a door big enough for a bed to go through. But anyway, so despite my requests, I couldn't be with her. And also her first feed was formula, and again I'd requested to be able to express breast milk and give that to her if I couldn't be with her, and that didn't happen either. Once we were reunited, it was beautiful to finally have my daughter with me, but the next week or so in hospital wasn't delightful. We had constant interruptions and countless different midwives offering conflicting advice, especially around breastfeeding, and it was confusing, frustrating and exhausting, and it was very tiring. Sienna was then jaundiced, and we both got infections and were prescribed antibiotics, and all sorts of things many things went wrong, and we were readmitted to the hospital twice before we finally got home after 11 days. So that's kind of the other side of what we're all here for. I know that experience isn't unique. Many women giving birth in hospital have gone through the same cascade of medical interventions with similar outcomes. I know that it's certainly not a unique experience. I'm just reading that page. Sorry for reading it, guys. I just can't get my head together to memorise all of this. I wonder how differently the birth and postnatal period would have been if Sienna wasn't born in hospital. If we were able to avoid some of the medical interventions, Sienna may have been born vaginally, eliminating many of the postnatal complications and creating a calmer start to her life. I do appreciate medical interventions and medical technology. It's absolutely fantastic when it's needed, but only when it's needed. when we decided to have another baby, that's my husband Masaki up there, when we decided to have another baby, we wanted to do everything possible to have a natural birth with no minimal intervention and which allowed maximum bonding. I also wanted to avoid going to hospital as I was terrified about going back to hospital. I was one of those women that Wendy was just talking about the fear and trauma. So I did a lot of research and reading and talking and thinking, and it became apparent to me that the only way that our family could have the safe, natural birth and bonding that we wanted was to birth at home with a registered midwife. And that also hugely increased my chances of having a vaginal birth after cesarean, which being quite unlikely in hospital. So we wanted to have our baby at home, which would allow us to create the atmosphere we wanted and when we all felt relaxed and comfortable. I wasn't allowed to have a home birth through the hospital system, even though the midwifery group practice does now do home births. I wasn't eligible because I was at high risk because I'd previously had a cesarean. In their eyes, I was at high risk. So the only way for us to have our beautiful home birth was to pay for an independent midwife, which is what we did. And we found a wonderful, warm, experienced and professional midwife, Wendy, who you just met. And she allowed us the gift of having the birth of our choice. Wendy came to our house for, many appointments, antenatal appointments before the birth, and we got to know each other really well. My daughter Sienna runs up and gives her a hug every time she comes to the door, and we felt very comfortable and supported by Wendy through the pregnancy and labour, to feeling all about our wishes for the birth. So getting to the actual birth story, 1 week after my estimated due date, I started getting contractions at 7 p.m. on Friday night, and 1 hour later, Wendy was at our house helping me with contractions, and it was such a relief for me and my family that we didn't have to get in the car, we didn't have to drive anywhere. Our midwife came to us, and in our house, how we wanted to do it. We were set up in our warm living room with just the light of a lamp and candles. I felt calm and safe with only Wendy, my husband, mother and daughter there. Just how I wanted the birth to be, warm, dark and quiet. My husband and mum filled the birthing pool while Wendy continued to assist me by pushing my back through the contractions. They were strong and frequent contractions but manageable, and I didn't ask for pain relief at all, much to my surprise. After a couple of hours I got in the pool and didn't need massage anymore. I just had to squeeze my husband's hand to get me through the contractions. It was painful, but I knew that meant that my baby was coming. Towards the end it was really painful, but I knew it was coming soon. So several more pushes and tightly squeezing Masaki's hands, my beautiful baby, was born gently into water. It felt so wonderful to meet him and so beautiful to hold him in my arms, and no one took him away. He was a very healthy big boy. He weighed over 4 kilos or 9 pounds with perfect depth pass forward. We moved out of the water and onto the sofa and had a beautiful family cuddle, and and then we had a shower in our house, and we had soup and toast, and when Wendy knew that we were all fine, Wendy tucked us up in bed. We didn't have to go anywhere. Our family of 4 in our bed. Jose and I just leave for an hour. I'll just quickly finish. I know many women feel comfortable about having their baby in hospital, but for me, home birth was a beautiful way to do it, and I hope all women continue to have their choice to birth that they feel is best for them, their baby and their family.